Hey everybody, I'm here with Ziggy. Let's go ask him what he thinks about GMOs. Ziggy, what do you think about GMOs? What do you think about GMOs? Oh! As you can tell, many people aren't the biggest fan of GMOs. Many people, like Ziggy, fear GMOs simply because they aren't educated on them and at first glance they seem dangerous. Well, what exactly are GMOs? Well, GMOs are my REHUGO topic, and in case you don't know, GMOs, or genetically modified organisms, change the genetic makeup of a plant to get desired traits out of them. The most common use of this is changing the genetic makeup of a plant so that they fight against pesticides, or fight against pests rather, and pests eat plants, so that's not good. And while many people like Ziggy don't like GMOs because they think they have negative impacts on the world, actually, GMOs have many positive, lasting impacts on our world, environmentally, economically, and socially. Hello everybody, I'm Gavin, and this is Murphy. What do you think Hello, what do you think about GMOs? What do you think about GMOs? Do you love Mr. Pole? Murphy's shy.
Get rid of the bottle.
One way that GMOs positively affect the world is through their economic benefits. In the TED Talk titled "The Case for Engineering Our Food" by Pamela Ronald, she shows a time-lapse video of 2 rice fields growing, one of them being genetically modified and one of them not being genetically modified. It shows that the rice field that was genetically modified grew much more crop than the other field. This shows how genetic modification of crops increases crop yields and reduces the number of crops that we lose due to things like pests or drought. Because of this increase in crop yields, farmers have been able to produce 4 times as many crops as they have been in past years without genetic modification per year. More crops being sold worldwide helps the economy largely as a planet. Okay, I'm Gavin, this is my special guest,
Lydia.
and today we're going to be interviewing this donkey about GMOs. So, Mr. Donkey, what do you think about GMOs? Oh, oh God. I think he loves them.
Are you allowed to touch it?
I guess. I mean, it's right there, right? Come in, I've been expecting you. In addition to all the economic benefits of GMOs, there are also many social benefits. In the book that I totally read for sure, cover to cover, Seeds of Science by Mark Linus, it highlights the fact that GMOs increase crop yields, bettering the livelihood of farmers. It also points out how one of the reasons many people have a negative feeling toward GMOs is the mandatory labeling of GMO products, which is misleading because GMOs have been proved to be safe for consumption based off of many peer-reviewed scientific research studies. The fact that GMOs have been proved to be safe for consumption was also pointed out in the article I read titled "Why People Oppose GMOs Even Though Science Says They Are Safe" from the Scientific American, which highlights the fact that there have been no scientific studies that have come out to show that there's any correlation between the consumption of GM crops and any negative health risks. One problem with this claim, however, is that all GMO health studies have been done in the short term, so any long-term health effects over the course of 30 or more years have not been able to be done. In the TED Talk I mentioned earlier by Pamela Ronald, the video provides a video showing the difference between crop yields for rice that was genetically modified and rice that was not genetically modified. And in addition to the economic benefits of this, the social benefits also are that it helps the livelihood of farmers and decreases malnutrition, decreases hunger throughout the world, because if we're able to yield more crop per acre, we can feed more people. Wait, I need a mic. Thank you. All right, everybody, I'm here with this alpaca. And Mr. Alpaca, what do you think about GMOs? What about you, Mr. Goat? You heard it here first, folks. They love it. My name is Gavin Musso. Vote for me for your senior class president this coming Friday, April 28th.
Perfect.
Let's get loose and vote for Moose. In addition to the social impacts that GMOs leave on our world, they also have positive environmental impacts. One of them being that GMOs make plants that produce their own pesticides to fight things like weeds. In the film GMO OMG by Jeremy Seifert, he brings up the fact that GM crops produce their own pesticides that have made pests they attack stronger and more resistant to such pesticides. This is clearly against my claim that GMOs are good for the environment, and while it has some truth to it, it also must be understood that in modern day farming, there is no way to avoid this, as pesticides must be fought against, but GMOs are the best way. The filmmaker is contradictory toward his claim when he interviews a farmer who points out the fact that if not for these crops being genetically modified to produce pesticides to fight weeds, this field would be filled with nothing but weed, no crop. This isn't the only evidence I've found through my research that pointed out positive environmental impacts of GMOs. In the podcast I listened to, GMO OMG, and yes, I realize it has exactly the same name as the documentary, but they have nothing to do with each other, and this is purely coincidental. This podcast was by a series called Science Versus, which tackles various controversial scientific topics, and it pointed out that GMOs often make plants more drought resistant. This is done by inserting a gene from the soil bacterium Bacillus subtilis into the plant, which activates a protein that helps mitigate the damaging effects of drought. Basically, GMOs are elite for the environment. So in conclusion, I love GMOs, and I hope you do now too, because they have positive economic, social, and environmental impacts on our world. I mean, just look at how happy this goldfish is that have been genetically modified. Before being genetically modified, he was a boring, dumb little swimming fish around in a tank with no girlfriend, no job, and no real friends. Now he's a delicious snack.